tractors that we'll be primarily interested in today are our bread and butter units, the high volume, high horsepower two-wheel drive tractors over 120 horsepower. In this segment, Case offers 4 units, the 2294 at 130 PTO horsepower, the 2394 and 2594 at 160 and 180 PTO horsepower respectively, and the all-new 3294 constant traction tractor at 162 PTO horsepower. John Deere also offers 4 tractors within this horsepower category. Their 4250 at 120 PTO horsepower. Their 4450 is rated at 140 PTO horsepower. Their 4650 is 160 PTO horsepower output. And their 4850 has 190 PTO horsepower. It's interesting to note that when they replaced their 40 series lineup with the new 50 series tractors, they elected to increase their horsepower output for each of the tractors. And this was done without increasing the tractor's weight or any other major specification. They have been working very hard on reducing the natural parasitic power losses, something that our engineers are very familiar with prior to the introduction of our 90 series back in 1978. This is all in an effort to allow the comparison of these tractors to our next size up. Don't let this happen, because it's not a true comparison. Both the 4250 and the 4450 now fall directly between 2 of our tractors. This gives us the sales advantage. Keep in mind, this artificial horsepower of theirs is a marketing scheme. The trend in the agricultural row crop tractor travel speed seems to indicate the high popularity of additional ground speed selections. The 23 and 2594 new 24-speed power shift transmission will offer a wide choice of closely spaced ground speeds in 6 full torque power shifts in each of 4 ranges, and is priced right. The Case 24-speed option is $2,775 versus the John Deere 15-speed power shift option at $4,355. The PTO on all 94 series transmissions feature an advanced design assembly, a design that will imply and reflect maximum productivity from this necessary power source. The power-on brake feature provides a free rotating PTO shaft when the engine is not running. This will make it easy for hooking up PTO machines. The 3294, 2394, and 2594 feature the 1000 RPM 21 spline PTO shaft as standard equipment. The 2294 is available with the dual speed 540 and 1000 RPM speed shaft. To change speeds, simply remove the snap ring. The PTO shaft can be easily removed and reversed to change speeds, and this can be done without any oil loss. The John Deere 4250 and 4450 split shaft PTO system still spills out oil when you go to change their speed shafts. The transmission housing on all our 94 series tractors is considerably heavier than the housing on competitive tractors. This heavy transmission case rigidly supports the rock shaft with replaceable wearing surfaces. The rock shaft is an integral part of the transmission. It's not a bolt-on arrangement that gets loose, distorts, and leaks. All the Case models have multiple wet disc brakes that are self-adjusting and self-equalizing for superb maneuverability and operational control. The 94 series tractors have the ideal wheelbase for short turning and increased maneuverability. When maneuvering a John Deere, you must turn the steering wheel full left to full right, 50% more than the 3.5 steering turns required by the 94 series. The standard wheelbase of the Case 2394 and 2594 is 118 inches. The 2294 will come standard with the row crop wheelbase of 108 inches. It's been well established that the long wheelbase provides for a better ride, but in actual farming situations, the position of the operator is of far more consequence. The operator of the Deere sits directly over the rear axle. Note the operator on the Case is positioned 8 to 12 inches forward of the rear axle. Therefore, the same motion when traveling over rough terrain is dampened for the operator in the Case. The front axle oscillation is 25 degrees for stability and better tractor control. The front axle is adjustable from 60 to 88 inches and features this rugged box beam full bearing surface for maximum strength. This is in addition to the induction hardened front wheel spindles and the new one-piece 3/4 inch side rails, which are designed to facilitate the mounting of large spray tanks. Serviceability is one of the primary design criteria developed by Case engineers with the introduction of the 90 series back in 1978, from where Case became a recognizable innovator for the entire agricultural industry. The tilt-up hood exposes the engine for all routine service. The removable side panels allow for quick access to the radiator and the fan belts. The swing-out oil cooler and the air conditioner condenser coil make it easy to clean the chaff and dirt that builds up through regular field work. These inverted oil filters are the spin-on type. They keep the oil in the filter when routine service is required. And the swing-out batteries reduce the frustration of battery service or replacement experienced in the competition. If daily maintenance is made easier, the likelihood of it being done is greater. The basic design of the John Deere has not changed from their 30 series back in 1964. They recommend distorting the hood and pulling the air cleaner out, but they say be careful not to damage the filter element. Damage of an air filter is not always noticeable, and this can lead to potential service problems down the road. There's no pre-cleaner for the primary air filter. This self-purging valve is their answer to a pre-cleaner. There's no accommodations for cleaning out chaff and dirt from the oil cooler and radiator. Their engine oil filter is mounted sideways. When this is changed, you'd better be ready with plenty of rags to clean up the mess due to this horizontal mounting. Why has John Deere not done anything about this type of serviceability? It's hard to tell, but too much of this type of inconvenience to the operator. And next time the tractor is ready for a trade-in, there's going to be some looking around at what else is available. The engine in the Case 2294 through 2594 is a 504 cubic inch turbocharged diesel design. The power plant in the respective Deere models is 466 cubic inches, and on the 4650 and the 4850, it has to be intercooled in order to get the horsepower output necessary. Conversely, the Case engines were originally designed for 250 horsepower and efficiently adapted to the smoother running 120 to the 180 horsepower category. Other features of our engine that can be directly related to benefits for the farmer is our multiple head design. With the alternate exhaust and intake valves, it provides better cooling capability as well as reduced downtime for valve jobs or if only one cylinder needs servicing. The Stratotube air induction system pre-cleans the incoming air. 95% of the dirt and the dust is vacuumed off through the aspirating muffler. All models have the exhaust and the intake valve rotators, and there are replaceable exhaust valve seats for the 23, 25, and 3294. The opposed manifolds prevent the hot exhaust gas from heating up the cooler intake air, providing a denser combustion mixture for each power stroke of the piston. The crankshaft proves evidence of the massive design of this 504. 7 main bearings provide 114 square inches of bearing surface on the 2294, and the 3.5-inch bearing supports provide 136 square inches of main bearing surface area for the 2394, 2594, and the 3294. The rugged engine block is dimensionally larger than the competitive models for greater strength. High-capacity cooling and lubricating systems make for reliable operation under full load throughout the life expectancy of the tractor. And all of these engines have piston spray cooling for additional lubrication and cooling directed to the heart of the power generation system. And constant oil pressure is maintained within the working speed range of this engine, evidence of reliability not found in competitive diesels. Externally, we provide a water filter and oil coolers as standard equipment, the Bosch multiple plunger fuel injection system, and triple fuel filtration designed in series for added protection, opposed to the John Deere parallel fuel filtering system. When comparing this type of specification listing and practical, common sense approach of engine design to the Deere counterparts, we see some striking differences. The 466 is an engine originally designed by truck manufacturers and purchased by Deere in the mid-50s. At that time, this engine was only 404 cubic inches. They then adapted this truck engine to the agricultural environment, and for that time, their maximum horsepower needs were under 140 horsepower. As the horsepower needs of the industry increased, it became necessary to bore out their 404 engine to the current 466 cubic inch. They increased their turbo boost, increased their pump flow, and intercooled their engine to stay competitive in the big horsepower marketplace. This is very evident when you look at their engine. Their single head design places the exhaust valves side by side. The exhaust and intake manifolds are on the same side of the engine. This dates back to the truck design. The intercooler is intertwined with the exhaust manifold. Tilt-up hood is unheard of, which makes serviceability a nightmare. The placement of their engine seems wrong. Our engine is designed 18 inches further forward in order to take natural advantage of its weight. With the Deere, additional iron is necessary to simply balance the tractor. We believe that you'll agree that never before has a statement of pure power and productivity in a tractor line been expressed with such grace. Historically, new tractors have always produced an exhilarating feeling among farmers. No feature will be demonstrable and more appealing to your customers than the comfort and ease of handling that we've built into our cab. The redesigned steps provide a natural and comfortable entry up into the cab. These steps are adjustable if additional row crop clearance is needed. The spacious cab gives the operator the feeling of confidence and control, besides having room to put his lunch bucket. There's also room to store tools or other equipment that might be needed at the far end of the farm. The large area of tinted glass makes for unstrained visibility all around. entry into the Deere cab is somewhat clumsy. And from the operator's seat, it's impossible to close the door. Visibility is very comparable, but being backed right up to the rear window doesn't allow for shade from the sun. The air conditioning and heating are all standard, as with the case cabs, but there sure is not the roominess that's afforded the operator of the case. The layout of the operational controls needs some attention. Here we have the transmission and the hydraulic levers on the right-hand side of the operator. The PTO is on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. Now, simultaneous operation of various systems becomes very difficult. When throttling up with your right hand and engaging the PTO with your left, you're trying to lower the header on your implement. On this tractor, it's very easy provided that you're not moving, or you might find yourself in the crop before you're ready. The instrumentation provided on the Deere is adequate for monitoring their transmission and engine systems. But there's no way that this type of instrumentation can compare to the Intelligence Center provided as standard equipment on the 94 series from Case. This system can be adapted with the optional True Ground Speed sensor and make available information invaluable to the precision operation of the tractor. Information not only on the 13 critical operational systems, but also true ground speed, giving the operator the actual forward motion of the tractor. Percent wheel slip is a continual monitored function on the instrument panel. Never before has the operator had the capability of monitoring his actual wheel slip. This feature will truly pay for itself many times over throughout the seasonal use of the tractor. The operator of the case also has the capability of monitoring the productive output or performance in acres covered per hour, as well as total acres completed. This type of instrumentation may be on the drawing boards at Deere and Company, but as of right now, the innovative engineering provided by Case has a true leg up on the rest of the industry. And speaking of innovations, back in 1978, Case introduced pressure and flow compensating hydraulics. And this continually developed system still is a leader in adaptability, power, and efficiency. When you stroke a lever or lift the three-point hitch, the pump senses the demand for hydraulic power and instantly provides the pressure and flow required to do the job. Once the implement is raised or lowered and no more hydraulic power is needed, our PFC system shuts down its flow output and backs down the pressure to a low 350 psi standby pressure. There's no wasted flow or pressure, making available more horsepower potential to the drawbar. To pull the implement, optimum efficiency is maintained at all times. In contrast, the John Deere system is, from their own words, a system that dates back to their 10 series in 1959. It's a closed center system, providing flow on demand, but maintaining a constant high pressure. When hydraulic power is required to raise a lighter implement, their system still delivers a constant 2,277 psi. Unnecessary horsepower demands are required of their engine. Their main hydraulic pump is a front-mounted crankshaft-driven assembly. Now, their charge pump is located back in the transmission, and it's a small 15-gallon per minute pump. This is more than likely why their system has to have a gravity-fed reservoir directly above the main hydraulic pump to help compensate for the lack of oil during maximum demand operations. The Pfc Hydraulic System on the Case 94 series is located on the left-hand side of the transmission for convenience and serviceability. Our 64-gallon per minute charge pump provides plenty of oil for internal lubrication, as well as any hydraulic needs on demand. With this system, all hydraulic and transmission requirements are supplied with pressure-filtered oil, improving the reliability and service life of the critical components. Deere and most of the other manufacturers in this horsepower category have option to filter the oil on the reverse side of the system when the oil comes back into the transmission, which means that high-pressure oil provided for the hydraulics and transmission is being taken directly from the bottom of the transmission oil sump and pumped unfiltered through some of the most critical systems of the tractor. You have to be able to distinguish these differences to effectively sell case tractors. The idea is to make the competition match your tractor feature specifications and applications. That's the offensive approach to creating sales.